welcome to Empty Cans Podcast.
I'm Mark.
I'm Tom.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Yeah, today's episode is all about a brand new brewery coming to Garden City this spring, Idawild Brewing.
Hey, Tom. What'd you think about that opening music there?
It's pretty intense.
It was intense. I did that on purpose because we do have special guests today.
Okay.
So I wanted it to be like a kick in your face. Here we are.
All right.
Check this one out.
Okay.
This is a first time for us, so it's going to be pretty awesome. Beer news before we get started, though. The Best of Craft Beer Awards just happened. Happened early March over in Redmond, Oregon. 55 award categories.
Wow.
So times that by 3 because you got the gold, silver, bronze.
Yep.
A lot of medals going out between 49 states.
Wow.
Yeah, all over the U.S. And I got some good news. We got a local that actually submitted into the competition.
Okay.
And they got a bronze for spontaneous fermentation beer. It's called Cry of the Blackbirds.
Never heard of it.
Spontaneous fermentation. It's like you use the outdoors to ferment your stuff.
Weird.
Yeah. I've never seen Cry of the Blackbirds down there at Barbarian. And I don't know if I will.
Try it? You don't think you'll try it?
I don't know.
Okay. You don't want the
It's kind of
spontaneous
crazy.
fermentation?
Maybe I will try it just to see what it tastes like. It's kind of crazy.
I don't think that's their first one they've done, though. I
Really?
remember some other ones. All right, well, some other beer news. We have Magnetic Fields from Fort George is going to be year-round now. I can't wait.
That is awesome. That is really good news.
Wait.
It used to be just yearly,
Yep.
and it used to be
year.
come in a 4-pack of 16 ounces.
Yep.
And now,
6 12-ounce cans.
yeah,
Yeah.
all year round.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm excited for that.
All right, so let's cut the shit right now.
All right, here we go.
Okay, we're down to business now.
Okay.
Okay, so
So-
first of all, we have Matt and Cortni with us. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate
Yeah, of course.
Happy to be here.
it. And they actually brought us a beer.
They did.
They did. You and I are going to taste it right now. They don't need to taste it because they
They've
tasted it
drank it.
plenty.
Yeah.
We've drank tons of it.
Yeah.
So we're going to taste it,
Okay.
and then Matt is actually going to tell us
about it.
all about it.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to say that's probably one of the best spicy IPAs I've ever had.
Oh, thank you.
You know,
Because every one that I've had is just too spicy and you just can't drink it.
right, you get like, I don't even know if you get halfway through and it's like, ooh, I cannot.
I don't think I've
drink
ever
it
gotten
anymore.
halfway through one of them.
I think I got halfway through and then I had to really rush on that last half.
Like I remember Ballast Point, their Sculpin Habanero.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
man,
one-
that thing was so
That
spicy.
one was really strong.
So Matt, tell us about this beer.
So this one, we made it as an easy drinking
Yeah,
spicy beer. So I'm glad that was kind of the first thing you said is
perfect.
we wanted the spice to come through in the flavor, but not really kick you in the butt. So it's only 5%. It's a super easy drinking hazy.
Yeah.
We use serrano peppers. There's about 3 serrano peppers per 5 gallons.
Okay.
And we use citra hops. Essentially, with the serrano pepper, you can pretty much use them almost like a secondary hop addition. So they just went in at the very end of the process, right 3 days before I kegged it.
Do you chop them? Do you just put them in whole? What do you
Yeah, pretty much. You don't really want any of the seeds or
Right.
any of like the white stuff. That's going to give too much of like yeah, exactly. It's going to give a vegetable flavor.
Yeah.
So I skin them. You really just want like the meat of the serrano pepper.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get a lot of the flavor, but you're not going to get a lot of that like capsaicin. That's really
Yeah.
going to make it too spicy.
That's good. Yeah.
You know, this is a good summer beer. I can see myself sitting on the back patio drinking this beer. Very good.
Yeah, and there's about a pound per gallon of mango puree.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, mango in general is like mango, strawberry. There's a couple other fruits that are just pretty delicate, so they don't come through a ton. So I might play around with the mango flavors depending on if we want more mango to come through or not. We could go probably all the way up to 2 pounds per gallon if we really wanted to.
So I guess one thing everybody should know, I'm sorry, I totally left this out. This is just not Matt and Cortni from like down the road.
We are
This
starting
is-
a brewery.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt and Cortni from Idawild Brewing.
Yes.
They are going to be open a brewery here in town really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we had them over, not just people down the road.
Yeah. You got some homebrewers from down the
Right.
street.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't go to the park and just find some strangers. And
Not too long ago, we were just homebrewers
Yeah.
down the street.
Not
but-
too long ago. That's
okay.
exactly what it would have
Yeah.
been.
it's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So it was a
Absolutely.
quick change, but we're excited.
Yeah. Feels like a long time, but in the long run, it's definitely a quick change.
Nice. All right. Well, moving on. Where are you from, Matt?
So I'm originally from California.
Okay.
I moved up here about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I moved up here actually to wrestle at BSU.
Okay.
And that's actually where I met Courtney.
Okay.
Not wrestling.
Not wrestling, but at BSU.
Well, you could. Okay.
I know I look like a
let's not
wrestler,
get
but I
into-
really wasn't.
And then what about you, Courtney? Where are you from?
I've kind of lived all over the Pacific Northwest, but I was born in Winnemucca, Nevada.
Okay. Yeah.
I moved up, yeah, the beautiful, world-renowned. I moved up to North Idaho when I was younger, Seattle, back to North Idaho, back to Northern Nevada, and then I came up here for school. So I grew up here.
We're at northern Idaho.
I lived in the Silver Valley, so like near Kellogg, Wallace. I lived in the smaller
Very
towns in that
northern
area.
Idaho,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
real small towns, and it was lovely. But yeah, it's kind of a different world up there.
So I was actually born in Lewiston,
Oh, okay.
which I loved it up there.
Yeah.
You had the nice green hills.
It's lovely.
And then I moved to Twin Falls, and it was just flat desert.
Mm-hmm.
I was just so sad for 7 years. Maybe that's what drove me to drink. But Matt, on your profile, on your Instagram profile, it says that you love jiu-jitsu.
I do.
Do you still train jiu-jitsu?
I do.
And now you said you wrestled at
Yep.
BSU. How did you do at BSU? Were you officially on the wrestling team, or did you just go
Yeah.
down to BSU and wrestle people?
No, I was a preferred walk-on when I came here.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't get a scholarship or anything, but yeah, I was on the team.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a great few years. I met a lot of really cool guys on the wrestling team. They were awesome. Yeah, it sucks now. Boise State doesn't have a wrestling program.
Right. They
I would
chopped it for
Yeah.
baseball. or
for
something.
baseball,
Which
and
then
then
got
yeah.
chopped.
never actually panned out. So
Right.
who knows? Hopefully, we actually end up getting a wrestling program again.
Yeah.
It was actually one of the highest ranked programs that BSU had.
Right.
When I first came
yeah.
here, we were ranked number 19 in the country.
That's pretty high.
I remember seeing that when they decided to chop it. It's like, well, why are you
I
chopping
know.
it?
And it was such a cheap sport to have as well. Like,
Well, compared to football, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. It might not have been a big money maker, but yeah, I think it was just maybe the easiest one for them to chop. I think they thought to add baseball, but yeah, when you don't actually end up panning out with a baseball team.
Right.
It's a very
Yeah.
expensive sport.
Where is this baseball team?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
Non-existent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. So, do you still train? To this
I do,
day?
yeah. So after wrestling, I got into mixed martial arts, and I had a couple fights, and I was gonna maybe try to make that a career before I had some back injuries that sidelined that idea. So from having some back injuries, really, I didn't really end up actually going to the doctor, but I did go to school for exercise science, so I kind of knew what my symptoms were. I was having a lot of sciatic pain, and I was getting a lot of numbness and tingling all the way down my legs, and if I had a back spasm, my legs would actually go completely numb, and I'd have to sit down. I couldn't stand up for like about 20 minutes, so I realized I probably couldn't take another fight because I was having a hard time training, and that actually led me to what my career became up until this point of being a personal trainer. And my specialty was helping people recover from back pain and injuries and helping them actually become athletic again after some sort of injury. So I was
Yeah, that's
basically kind of like a personal trainer slash physical therapist almost.
Very good. So, what is your record at wrestling?
Oh man, I don't know off the top of my head, to be
Oh, well,
honest.
that was a tough
I bet his
question.
dad knows.
All right.
Okay. What about your MMA record?
MMA record, I was 1-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
One.
Okay. It's too bad that it got cut short.
Yep.
I'm sure if I could do it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's-
I mean, if it didn't, we
Right.
Yeah.
we'd be
Right,
enjoying this
yeah.
beer. So,
Exactly, right?
If he was
exactly.
20 we might not be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Wouldn't be opening this brewery, Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Also on your profile, it says you love the outdoors, hunting and fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where do
Yeah.
you like to go?
I've only really hunted in Idaho, actually.
Okay.
And I didn't grow up hunting, but I always knew I wanted to hunt. My dad hunted when he was younger and lived in Arizona, but when I was growing up, he was pretty busy running his business. And I was really busy in school and sports, and I had uncles who were really big hunters, and I was always promised I'd be able to go hunt with them, but that never actually panned out. So it was kind of just this thing. I was like, all right, I always knew I wanted to hunt. So then I kind of just had to teach myself when I was in my early 20s.
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you hunt?
My favorite thing to hunt is mule deer.
Where do you go?
I go around the mountains above Anderson Reservoir, kind of north
Yep.
of Mountain Home, up into that area. I also like hunting right around Riggins area, kind of just west of Riggins.
Yeah.
Up in those areas, you can kind of see the Seven Devils in the background. Super pretty, super rugged terrain too.
Yeah.
It's rough getting up in there, but if you get up in there, you don't see as many people.
Right.
So I've
Oh,
learned
yeah.
if you go
That is
too close
true.
to Boise, it's just you get on top of a ridgeline, you can see 7 other hunters right around
Right.
you.
Yeah.
So do you hunt, Courtney?
I don't do the hunting, but I've gone with them a
She
few
did
times.
go with me in my last mule deer I got.
Yeah, I did help
She
with the pack
even
out.
helped pack out.
Wow.
So when you shot the deer and you pack it out, did you gut it and you tear the heart out and you Courtney, did you bite?
Yeah, that was mine, clearly.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I was there for that, which really didn't freak me out
No.
too much.
No,
But
not
yeah,
at
when
all.
I grew up, my family was hunting, but I've never personally done it. I've just been there, so it wasn't too weird for me. But
No. Yeah,
I
she's
kind of
used
just
to
like
her
the hiking part,
Yeah.
and I kind of look away
being in the pretty
while it all happens.
wilderness.
But then help pack it out, which
Yep.
was fun, but it was, oh my gosh, it was a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah. I don't-
I mean,
I don't
look at
do
me.
either.
Yeah,
I don't
we
pack
had
anything.
Yeah.
We had
I
like
pack
a-
my belly around and my beer. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, we had a 4-mile hike back to the truck, and we had to climb about 1,500 feet of elevation.
So hard,
Wow.
so hard.
I don't even.
With
Just
no
said a
beers,
bunch
I
of
don't
words.
even.
Yeah,
No
we didn't have any
beers.
beers on them.
Dang.
I
Wow.
just don't understand that. That's
But honestly,
crazy.
every time I pack out, that's all I can picture is just a cold beer at the truck.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
and that was,
for
I
sure.
think,
When
the first thing we did.
It is every single time. I'm packing out and you're just exhausted and you're sweating and you're just like, oh god, a cold beer would be so good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What about fishing? Do you fish
So-
a lot?
No, I hunt more than I fish. I wish I fished more though, because every time I go, I love it. I fished a bit on the Boise River going to college here and just caught some rainbow trout, and we've gone with her dad a couple times and gone sturgeon fishing in Oregon, and
Columbia.
oh, that has been so awesome. We've gone to Washington and gone out and caught sea bass and halibut, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, I wish I had fished more. I really want to. I get the sportsman's package every year here in Idaho, and it gives you everything.
Yeah.
And I have yet to do it, but I really want to do the steelhead run up on like the Clearwater River. That's kind of a bucket list of mine.
Mm-hmm. I have a brother-in-law that he goes up there all the time.
Really?
And does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a lot of fun up there.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's awesome. Just
Oh yeah.
giant steelhead
Yeah.
rushing back upriver.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
You are the owner, head brewer of Idawild.
You're looking at Idawild Brewing.
Oh, this is it, right here.
The two of
Okay,
you.
so Courtney, what is your role
It's us.
in Idawild Brewing?
Yeah, my role is kind of a little bit all over the place. So I don't know much anything about like the technical side. Like I kind of know the general terms of what he tells me. But for the most part, like when he's brewing, I stay out of the way unless he yells that he needs my help for something.
Okay.
But I love cooking and I love like experimenting with flavors. And so I try to come up with flavor combinations and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I come in is sort of like ideas. And I love
okay.
drinking beer. So I'm like, these are the things I like. These are things we
Yeah.
should work on. I like coming up with like the names.
Yeah.
Did you come up with the Serrano mango?
It's so hard. I don't know because we did that one last year. I like to think I did. It's probably safe to say I did. Okay. I'm sure I did. Yeah. But
I feel like that one might have been one of mine, but
I don't know. We can't even remember who came up with the name.
Exactly.
I like to also think that was me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where I come in. I did come up with, I know, our most recent beer, the Socks and Sandals.
Yeah.
That was the carrot coconut
That's
sour.
a carrot coconut sour. That's the other one we
And that was based off
guys.
a soup recipe that I really loved.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. And so I was just like, man, I love how well these flavors go together. I wonder if that would translate to a beer. And yeah, we loved it. It was kind of a total risk.
Yeah. And I mean, when we were starting Idawild Brewing and we're brewing on a 5-gallon system, we're able to take a lot of those risks of coming up with recipes, and because it's not that much money to dump a 5-gallon batch if it's not very good. So that's kind of where I feel like we have a big leg up going into our production. And we've got probably 25 recipes that we're super confident about already. Nice. Just need to figure out the intricacies of the 5-barrel system we're going to be working on and be able to get those recipes working on it. And yeah, we've luckily the brewery we took over has tons of taps, so we have a ton of room to add all these cool recipes that we've come up with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. So you do have one other employee.
Oh, this is
Charlie.
Right. Yes.
We do have a mascot.
Yeah. Mostly he's a distraction.
Exactly. Yeah.
He requires like daily, every day he has to go on a run or a walk. Like he's super high maintenance. He's a labradoodle.
I was gonna say he's a dog. So
yes,
yeah.
he's a dog.
Everyone thinks
who's this guy?
We got that.
Another guy down the street. Yeah.
Super hairy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's turning 5 this summer, but he is seriously still 100% a puppy. Yeah, he's turning 5, and he's still like you'd think he was 6 months old.
We kept him intact, so maybe that has a little bit to do with it. So
okay,
he's got a ton of energy.
Wow.
Super sweet dog, incredibly smart, but yeah, he's a handful.
Yeah, love him to death, but yeah, he's like, we'd love to bring him to the brewery and let him like hang outside or just like, show his face, but he's just he would kind of want to jump on everybody but look you in the eyes. It's like his whole thing. He's like, I want to see your face. If you're not going to come down here, I'm going to come up there.
Right.
And he's so smart. He knows what to do, but he's so strong-willed. He's like, I don't have to listen. You're not going to really punish me.
Yeah, and he's so food-driven. If you have a treat, the dog will do a million tricks. But yet, if it's something, trying to train him to do something that he doesn't want to do is impossible.
Nearly, yeah.
I think that's maybe why people neuter their dogs.
Probably.
He's very strong-willed.
Yeah.
I do have a neighbor right next door. He has a labradoodle, a black one, and great dog, fantastic. He listens very well. His owner, though, he likes to drink the PBR. So his owner's not so great, but the dog is fantastic. Fantastic dog.
He has ventured out on some other beers.
I'm working on it.
He's trying to get him to expand on the beer.
I'm trying to give him good stuff. So.
Usually I associate that with like the hipster type. That's kind of what you see.
PBR has actually turned into like a weird hipster
the
beer
cool.
now. Yeah.
I've never been a fan, but it really did make a comeback.
It did.
With a vengeance.
I think it's here to stay.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, Matt, I got a question. Do you have a beer fridge in your garage?
I don't.
You don't? Wow.
I have a small beer fridge in our brewery in our house, though.
Okay.
But the thing is, we have a kegerator.
We do
with 3
We do have a
kegs in it.
3-tap kegerator,
Okay.
so.
So we just, we just bought beer today for like the first time.
A little bit. All right.
And for the most part, the last couple of years, our 3-tap kegerator has been filled with our Idawild beer the entire time. All 3 taps, pretty much.
Okay. And then as far as your small beer fridge, what do you keep in there?
Mostly bottled Idawild beers.
Oh my gosh! Okay, wow. So we don't venture out too much outside of Idawild here.
So if we do, we'll go get like a 6-pack or something, and we'll drink them right then.
Okay.
But yeah, for the last couple of years, it's been all Idawild.
Yeah, we
for
bought
the
a
most
6-pack
part.
today while we were doing some work on the brewery, and I
Yep.
was like, "This is weird."
I know, we don't
bought
really-
beer in a long time, but
Yeah.
like we go out.
We
a
go
lot.
out and we have a lot of draft
Yeah.
beer, so we'll have beer.
I love to go out for a
we
beer,
like to
but
go
at
out to the
home.
breweries and
Yeah.
have a beer in person. We haven't really collected a lot of beers.
Okay.
Unless it's like an import.
Exactly. Yeah, my beer fridge honestly was filled more with hops and yeast. And
No, I respect that. I respect that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So where did you learn how to brew beer?
So I learned through reading a couple books on yeast
Shut
and
up.
water and
Sounds
watching
familiar.
Yeah, I know.
This sounds totally familiar.
watching YouTube videos. There's a
Holy
lot of
shit.
good information. I paid for a couple like small classes online
Okay.
that you can pay for.
Uh-huh.
But and a lot of trial and error. I'm a very hands-on learner. So, I mean, we built an entire 5-gallon brewery in our house. Like, ripped out the carpet, put in laminate, put a hood in, put a whole
Oh, wow.
3-vessel electric system in. We have
Panel.
like 5-gallon uni tanks that are pressurizable, and like, so we pretty much built a tiny little brewery that I, for the last 2 years, have been able to mess around on
Nice.
and work out all the kinks.
So you're pretty hardcore. When I homebrewed, it was okay. What is the cheapest way that I can make myself some beer?
Yeah.
And I kind of stuck to that. And I've always wanted to upgrade, but I've just been too much of a tight ass to actually.
I did that
invest.
for a little bit, and then decided this is pretty fun. And I'm either gonna be all in or all out on things. That's kind of how my personality is.
Yeah.
So as soon as I like this, we spent a bunch of money
Yeah.
and basically built a brewery. And they're like, "Oh, I really like this. This is a good investment into. Let's do this for a living." So it ended up being a good investment.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
Right. I guess I gotta quit my job and get into it.
All right. So, how long ago did you start homebrewing?
I think it had to be we probably got our sometime maybe around there. It's probably about 4 years ago that I got my first, pretty much baby's first brew kit from Courtney.
Okay.
Christmas
Yeah.
present.
It's all Courtney's fault.
Yes.
It is all
Yeah.
Courtney's fault.
Started it. Oh,
Very
my
good.
gosh.
She
Okay.
did.
It all started with a Christmas gift.
Yeah, so I'd say maybe about 4 years ago, we did our first Northern Brewer kit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Brew in a bucket.
Brewing a bucket,
Yeah.
extract, amber ale.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, that quickly evolved into trying all sorts of extracts kits that we were pretty much making ourselves by going to the homebrew shop. And we're like, all right, there's only so much you can do with extracts. We got to move on to all grain.
Yeah.
And then that's where it really took off. And then we ended up with a brewery in our house and now a big 5-barrel brewery.
Yeah.
Now over
Very
a
cool.
3,000 square foot.
Yeah, exactly. It escalated quickly over 4 years.
Do you have a favorite hop that you like to use?
I really like Citra hops. I know they're super in right now, and they're probably one of the most popular hops. But
It's the easiest one to
It's-
do.
it's always- it's always-
I love the flavor they give. They give a lot of flavor, and I really like making hazy IPAs, and I think they're just one of the best hops for it.
Have you ever heard of Zithos hop?
Zithos.
Really? Okay.
Probably the reason, Tom. Probably the reason. Come on.
Okay.
Let me hear it.
There you go.
Hear me out here. So I brewed an all single hop
Uh-huh.
Zithos IPA,
Okay.
and it was probably my best batch I've ever done. And
Really?
it's very pineapple forward.
Okay.
Huh.
Was this a hazy then?
This one wasn't a hazy, but I
Okay.
do have a recipe for a hazy, and I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because we did a single hop double hazy with 100% Citra, and I really, really liked it. But I want to use that because I really like the base recipe that I've made for it's a double hazy. It comes out to about 8.5%.
okay.
And I kind of want to almost use that recipe to showcase different hops. So have like 100% Citra or 100% Nelson. I like Nelson a lot too. So 100% Nelson, 100% Galaxy. I'll do 100% Zithra.
Hey, try
Well,
the Zithos, man.
And then
I'm
we
telling
can
you.
basically showcase to people what these different hops
Yeah.
actually come out to. So they can be like, oh, shoot, last time I had the Citra. This time I had the Zithra. I can taste the difference.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Barley Brown.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Every once in a while, they come out with the Occam's Hazer.
Huh,
And
that's
those
fun.
are usually single hop beers that they come out with.
I don't remember what the last one was. They have the number one all the time around here.
They're just in Eastern Oregon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I've had a couple of their beers that I really enjoy.
Your favorite is
The Hot Blonde.
The Hot Blonde.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Yeah,
spicy
they
beers.
they do a jalapeno blonde, and that's awesome.
I did see an article this last week. Untapped came out with an article, and it was the top 15 IPAs, and it was all over the nation. Treehouse had a couple on there, but I will say that Pallet Jack from Barley Brown did make the list.
Nice.
It was it's probably the closest brewery to us. Pallet Jack is a very good.
Do you know if
solid
they were
IPA.
doing that off like certain metrics of like?
They
sales
keep
or-
track of how many beers are logged in.
Oh yeah, because
So-
they review on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to
Oh, I see.
Untapped, you
Yeah,
say, "Hey,
yeah.
I'm having this beer right now."
Oh, that's awesome.
And people rate it.
Yeah.
And then it has an overall
Yeah.
rating score based on everybody's ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Oh, that's
And you
awesome.
can post
Yeah.
pictures of them and that kind of stuff too. Yeah. We use that. I use that app all the time.
yes.
Especially like
cool.
if I'm trying to decide where to go to eat dinner. My wife's
Ah.
like, "Oh, where should go to eat?" I'm like, "Okay, where good beer, you know."
Yeah,
That's good
exactly.
to know. Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
a proponent for Untapped, and I wasn't sure
Yeah.
how
I think it's-
popular it is.
I think it's very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then also if you get sponsored through there or it's verified, I think then you can have your tap list on there.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
We've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah, like the homebrew shop I would go
Yep.
to, they have their tap list is basically a TV with the Untapped up.
Yep.
And,
So when you got when you were a home brewer,
mm-hmm.
because you're not anymore, you're big time.
As of 2 days ago.
2 days ago, you were big time. Before 2 days ago, where did you get your brewing supplies?
So when I first started, I would go to
Brewers Haven.
Brewers Haven.
Okay.
Off Vista.
Yep.
We lived
That's 'cause-
right across the
That's
street.
because
from
we
it.
lived
Oh,
right
okay.
across the street.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
it
the
worked great
last-
for us at the time.
2.5 years or so. Are we going on 3? So yeah, almost 3 years now. We've lived in West Boise, and my favorite one now of kind of traveling around trying to go to all of them is homebrew stuff on Chittenden.
Yep.
So is there a difference between? Is it just location, or is there a real
A
big
little bit of
difference in-
location, but I feel like organization,
Facilities.
cleanliness, and level, amount of stuff they have. It's if I had to rate everything, I would say they're at the top of all those categories of inventory, cleanliness, helpfulness of the guys who work there.
Brewers Haven is a kind of a good old boy shop that, and it gets really crowded there too.
Oh,
they,
yeah.
They have the little.
They have
Yeah.
a
little
great
tiny
group
room.
of regulars.
They have an awesome group of
Yeah.
regulars. But yeah, it wouldn't be worth me driving all the way
Right.
across town to go
I
there.
think there's only been like twice in my homebrew career where I actually had to go over there for some hop or something
Yeah.
that homebrew stuff did.
I've had to do that too.
But it's rare
Yeah.
that I have to do it.
Yeah. And every
Yeah.
once in a while he'll order something online too.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can't really find anything like Northern Brewer or More Beer, or there's a lot of websites now that'll send you stuff that you can't find locally. Because and a lot of times it would be certain yeast strains that I want to use. I was testing out all different types of lactobacillus strains for our kettle sour to see which one's going to be kind of the quickest to get down to the pH level that we want and the most consistent. And the one that I ended up actually going with, you can't find at one of the homebrew shops.
Oh.
So I'd have to order it on.
That's one thing I never did pay any attention to. pH.
Really?
Fuck pH. I got this. It's not that bad.
I don't know
try
how
to
much
filter
it.
water, but
Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
much does it come into play if you're not making a sour.
So-
Someone who I don't know.
It does. So there is a certain pH that you want a beer to finish at to where it's going to be crisp enough to where if the pH is a little bit too high, if you're ending at the high 4s into like the 5 with the beer, it's going to just kind of taste flat and it's not going to be crisp enough. You're not going to get a lot of those flavors to come through. So if you don't care about sours, you pretty much, as long as you know the pH of your water coming in, and then you know the pH of kind of after you've done your mash and you've sparged and you've got your wort in your boil kettle, if you know the pH of that and then you know the pH of your final product, as long as it's sitting in those general ranges, then you're going to be good. So if it's not in those general ranges, then you'd have to figure out, okay, is my city water that I'm using, is it way too high? And then you might have to adjust your sparge water a little bit. You might have to adjust. But for the most part around here, like, if you just want to make good beer at home, you don't have to worry about it too much.
One time, I actually tried to make my water a little bit better. So, being the cheap ass that I am, I went to some RV store and got the RV water filter. Hooked that to my hose.
Nice.
And I'm high class now. I'm brewing filtered water.
This will fix everything.
I don't even know if it was good beer or not, but
if you really wanted, you could. It's about like $40. You could take a little sample of your water, just use it out of whatever you're using to fill up your kettles. You can send it in online. It's like $40 to have your water tested, and they'll give you tell them it's for brewing, and they'll give you a full breakdown of all the salts and minerals in there. They're going to give you a breakdown of the pH and everything, and then you would kind of then know, based off of that, if you need to filter it to take things out, or if you need to add brewing salts to add stuff back in.
See, that's why I'm still
Brewing salts.
still working on my job.
Yeah, that's why we didn't open a brewery. Okay, cool.
I think we got some work to do.
That's what the cool thing about brewing is. You can take it as far as you want. There's always something you could make better about your beer.
Oh, I don't think I could get too much worse. Actually, I've had some bad ones.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. You can listen to it.
We've had some bad ones too. There's been some duds, trust me.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, I think we kind of talked about it earlier, but what kind of equipment did you really start out with?
We really started out with plastic buckets.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like everybody, if they start brewing, they start out with plastic buckets.
Did you temperature control it or anything like that?
No, not at all.
See?
Throw it in the closet.
Yeah.
You throw it in a room and you're like, okay, I'll close the blinds so no light hits it.
Yeah.
But
On the second floor of our very, very hot house.
yeah. And then you go from there, you go to glass carboys, and then from the glass carboys, you start going into stainless steel buckets, and then from stainless steel buckets to pressurizable unitanks, and you can get as crazy into it as you want.
Yeah, I got to the glass carboy, and then one time when I was cleaning it, it fell and just shattered everywhere.
Yeah.
And in the process, broke my iPad. So
Oh, no. Shoot, it dropped on your iPad.
Screw you guys. I'm going back to buckets. Plastic buckets.
Yeah, I think I upgraded to the Big Mouth Bubblers.
Oh, the bubblers.
Yeah.
Big Mouth Bubblers, yeah.
I've got one of those.
Easy
Those
to
are good.
clean, and yeah, I did have to do some finessing with it. I had to like get the strap, put a piece of wood across it to hold it down, and it was crazy. Because it ferment too much. Those lids suck.
Oh,
Kept wanting to blow the lid.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. I would use my Big Mouth bubbler maybe 3 years ago as kind of a bright tank almost.
Yeah.
I would transfer into that, and then I would fruit in there because they had that attachment that you could. It was basically like a dry hop attachment.
Oh yeah.
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 So I would fruit in that, and every time I'd have to make ship a blow off too.
Oh, yeah,
because it would just
absolutely.
go nuts in there.
Is that
for
like
some-
when that beer went all over the house?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I had one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
closet.
that's a beer I would love to do, but
It was
it'd be
it turned out great.
It would be
still.
so expensive to do professionally, but it was a
Huckleberry
milkshake IPA.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
So it
For
had
our wedding.
huckleberry and lactose.
Nice.
And it was amazing. Everybody loved it. That beer went so fast at our wedding.
That's awesome. Sounds delicious.
Yeah, huckleberries are just, unless we went out and picked the huckleberries ourselves, trying to source.
You could. It'd just be a lot of work.
Trying to source enough huckleberries for a
Oh my gosh. You could buy a bear
155 gallon
first.
batch.
Yeah. Well, maybe you need to switch the fruit up a little bit then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do something different, a little more cheaper, on a larger scale.
So I think you already hit this once, but I'm going to ask it again because you have done both now. You've done extract and you've done grain.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on extract versus grain?
Well, extract, you just don't have much control. So the wort's already created for you. You don't have much control over, is it going to be dry? Is it going to be malty? Like, is it going to have a bunch of sugars that continue through and make the beer really sweet and thick and full-bodied? Or is this a beer that it's going to be really high ABV? I better make sure it's going to be as thin and kind of dry and have a ton of fermentable sugar so it's not too heavy. Like, if I'm making my double or triple hazy IPA, I'm going to mash it at 148 degrees. So when it comes through, no matter what, it's going to feel heavy. So I don't want to mash it at like 155 and make it a heavy, full-bodied beer. I'm going to mash it like it's going to be as dry as possible. But then by the time it has that much alcohol, it's going to be drinkable at 8, 9, 10% ABV.
Makes sense.
So the problem with extract is you don't have control over that. You don't have any control over what the body is and how much fermentable sugar comes through. Because that's essentially what you're doing when you're trying to pick out what degree you want to mash at. But that's all been
talking temperatures.
That's all been done for you when you're using an extract.
You know, I think I just stuck to one temperature every time I brewed. That's true. I didn't branch out at all.
Yeah. You pick like 152
yeah,
and said
exactly.
It's good. Yeah, that's kind of like the baseline. Like, God, 152 is a good hit the middle.
I'm feeling like
maybe you're just gonna pick up some tips and tricks here, and your next batch is gonna be the best thing ever.
I might have to hang it up.
Okay.
Hang up my ladle and I'm done.
All right.
Stirring spoon.
Yeah. Right.
Are you guys fans of sour beer?
You know,
If you aren't, it won't hurt our feelings.
Yeah, it won't hurt our feelings at all.
I have had a taste one time of a cherry cordial from Barbarian, and it did not agree. I don't like cherries.
Theirs can sometimes just come on strong.
Yeah.
It was a little too much for me, but
Let's pour it, and if they don't like it, I'll drink it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't care. Won't
Yeah,
hurt
do you
my
have
feelings.
the
Oh yeah, there was another
carrot
bottle.
coconut?
Oh yeah. Right here.
Yeah, we'll pour it so you guys can taste
Yeah,
it.
you guys, why don't you tip it upside down for just a sec first, in case anything's settled.
Yeah, and this one, it wouldn't be any like yeast or protein that settled. It's mostly the carrot juice.
You can just pour them a little bit, and if they don't love it,
Kind of
then I'll finish
stratifies
it.
a little bit in the bottle. Yeah, this was one of the first beers that instead of using like a puree, we went with pure juice.
Oh, okay.
So we did a carrot juice. It was about 10 pounds of carrots.
Yeah, I think it was just
Oh, wow.
over 10 pounds of carrots that I just juiced on our home juicer.
for how big of a batch?
5 gallon.
For a 5 gallon. Wow.
Which came out to about just under a gallon of carrot juice.
Wow.
Which you would
And we
think
strained
would be...
off like all the extra kind of
Yeah.
like pulp.
You guys want to try it out of 2 different cups, or
Don't have to.
Don't have to.
I can pour it into that one too.
I do have a friend. He is a home brewer and he tries everything. He tries to brew with everything.
Oh yeah.
One time we were both working on a job out in Nampa, and across the street a farmer was tilling up the beets and they were harvesting them. And he's like, I'm going to try a sugar beet beer.
Yeah.
Well, he went across the street, asked the farmer, hey, can I have some sugar beets? And I'm going to make a beer. And the farmer's like, yeah. If it turns out, bring some back. He took it home, he brewed, and he said it tasted like Nampa.
Oh no.
So, not so good.
Kind of like polluted or something.
But to be fair, he also like starts his brews late at night, and he falls asleep. And I mean, yeah,
wakes up and the beer's done.
Yeah,
Doesn't know what happened.
He is very unique. Yeah, he's a very, very good guy. But I like his willingness to try everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
You don't know unless you try it.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, we
This one was a carrot coconut ginger sour. So it's one of my proudest recipes I have, like, or the recipe that I'd be the most proud of is my base kettle sour recipe. So very versatile. I can turn that base kettle sour into a million different brews, and you would never know it was the same base recipe, whether it's a Sour Patch watermelon sour or this sour that you just tasted. It all comes from the same base recipe.
Okay.
But it finishes different.
Yeah, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
This is not bad.
You actually jumped ahead. So that question was a little bit further down, but thank you for answering that one. So that is your most...
Yeah, this is the one I'm the most proud of. And it's not this beer in particular. It's the base beer that I can turn into that. It's my base kettle sour recipe.
Yeah, this one in particular was kind of my
It's very
brainchild.
subtle, which is nice, actually.
Yeah.
I don't feel... Like, I've had some sours that are just, like, punch you in the face sour.
It's the pucker.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't like that. That's
So like the one I just mentioned before, that was punch you in the face sour.
The Sour Patch Kids one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, that's
I do.
fantastic. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
We did a blackberry lime sour too. That was pretty punchy in the face sour
Yeah.
too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just not everyone's cup of tea, so that's why we're hoping.
That's where, and I can manipulate it with this beer, and I can make one that's punchy in the face, or I can make one that's subtle.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's
I
very
think
good.
I've seen Warhead sours too. Out there,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, we made one of those.
We
that
did
was
a black cherry
really
warhead that
great.
was
Okay.
really, really good.
Super
We
nice.
did that last year just before
And I feel
Halloween.
like the sour was I don't remember. I don't remember how intense
It was-
but I just remember the flavor was
It wasn't as sour as the Sour Patch watermelon, but it was pretty sour. It was more sour than this one was.
Yeah.
Courtney, which one's the one you're most proud of?
I feel like this is the one that I know I came up with.
Okay.
The other ones I'm just like I can't remember.
There's been so many.
See, I'm proud of them when I can take credit. Because he does most of the work. He
Sure.
does.
This one is her.
This is when I was
Brainchild.
standing in the kitchen. I was like, Matt, this is.
You
we
have to
do
make this soup into
We have
a
to
beer.
try this. It might
So
not
that
be
was-
good, but I want to try it.
That was my objective of make this soup that I can make
Yeah.
into a beer.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew it wouldn't be everyone's cup
And that's
of
what this
tea,
is.
I think
but
it's good. Yeah.
I'm glad. I wanted something kind of like
Yeah.
earthy, but also like unexpected
Yeah.
and still sweet enough. And I just love the taste. Like if I'm getting like a juice from a juice bar or something, I like carrot because
Yeah.
it's still sweet and it's a
Yeah,
vegetable.
carrot.
not-
I mean, carrot really just adds sweetness. It adds sweet
And
and
it's
it
very
adds
subtle.
a tiny bit of earthiness. So there's also ginger. There's also a little bit of lemongrass in there as well. We tried to add a little bit of spice with the ginger. The lemongrass
I don't
gave a
love
little
lemongrass
bit
that
of
much.
sweet. Yeah, we didn't add
didn't
that
add
much
very much.
lemongrass.
And you said coconut too?
Yes. Yeah.
Like pure
We
coconut,
actually
or-
went with an amaretti coconut puree.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I've tried coconut multiple times, and the amaretti coconut puree has given the best flavor.
Nice.
It gives the most like natural, real coconut flavor.
Yeah, it's pretty
Amaretti,
subtle in there. so,
Amaretti
yeah.
does a really good job with their
Nice.
purees and
It
extracts.
doesn't just taste like a straight up almond
Yeah,
joy.
because I've done
Yeah.
All those
exactly. So I've done fresh coconut, like dried coconut chips, and yeah, after just kind of experimenting, the Amaretti coconut puree just does such a good job, and it makes it so easy.
So he's got all the stuff down.
Yeah, I'd never think about sours.
Adding
Never have
coconut?
thought about them.
Yeah.
I drink this all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty good.
Glad you like
What's
it.
the ABVs on this one?
So that one was about 6.5%.
Okay.
It's off the top of my head, but I believe that one was 6.5%.
Yeah.
Around
Nice.
Well, shit, maybe I'm a sour guy.
Right?
Well, if it's like this, like,
Yeah,
I
don't-
mean, this is not bad.
I'm starting to doubt my taste now.
They're very. It's like there's a very wide array of sours, and
exactly.
especially we've been to like bars or restaurants that maybe if you're not so good at cleaning your beer lines of your draft beers, sours can come out really, really gross. And so you can try a beer that you even really like on draft somewhere, and if they don't, especially a sour, if they don't clean their lines very well, it's really
That, or if they didn't take the consideration of doing the souring process correctly, and
it can go wrong.
it can definitely go wrong, and it can give off some kind of stomach acidy kind of flavors.
Okay. Yeah.
So that would be definitely one you would want to dump, but some
Yeah.
people have put those out before. So that can turn people off of sour beer.
Yeah. Yeah. It can go really right and it can go really wrong.
Yeah.
And so there's
Yeah.
definitely a huge wide array of sours, but yeah, if you can get them right.
Yeah. And in the beginning, we'll stick mostly to the kettle sours. We have done a traditional sour and barrel aged it, and it's a lot of fun, but it is a ton of work, and they take a long time to actually be able to put on draft.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've just nailed the kettle sours so well. That's probably what you'll mostly see from us in the beginning, but we definitely will have a small barrel program with doing traditional sours eventually and some barrel aged stouts and things like that.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, so now that you're in the brewery, the big brewery, in a larger scale, how, other than like the big equipment, and what's the differences between so far?
So the big difference so far is the setup. The setup is a lot more complicated than setting up my, because I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of similar to what I set up in my house. There's a big control panel that feeds the electric elements. We're going to be doing our hot liquor tank and our boil kettle have electric elements, so it's very similar to what I was doing at my house. But on the bigger scale, the control panel is way bigger. There's way more wires. It's just way more confusing that way. Instead of using a cooler with cold water to keep my tanks cold and having to change the ice all the time, we have an actual glycol system now, thank God. So, but working with the glycol system and figuring that all out is just, it complicates things. But other than that, it's kind of a scaled up version of a homebrew system. Okay. Essentially. Of a very complex homebrew system.
Right. Yeah, the more complex. Not
yours
or mine.
Yeah.
We're not. Yeah, okay.
Right. Which I tried to do as almost complex of a homebrew system as possible, so it would be very similar.
Sure.
Transferring over.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Makes the transition a little easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, yeah, we've got 3 freestanding tanks, just like my freestanding tanks at home. They're just 31 times bigger.
31 times bigger. Dang, that's a lot of beer.
That is a lot of beer.
And, yeah, we're super small compared to big guys.
Yeah.
We're almost on like a homebrew scale compared to some other breweries.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make money and you scale up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure other, like Bear Island, didn't they start out of their house?
They started out a
Out of
3.5 barrel system out of their house.
Yeah.
No, they did a ton of work to be able to do that too. I actually contacted them, and they had an awesome plan. They picked their house specifically to do that, to make sure it met all the codes. And, and look what they did. They have an awesome brewery now. It can be done. You scale up.
So, Matt, at what point in the brewing process do you know if you have a good recipe or not? At a home brew, you could try it at every step. But now you're big time. And can you try it at every step?
Yeah, you can take samples.
I mean, or is this something that you homebrew something to see if it's good first, and then you try it on a bigger scale? Because like you said earlier,
I get what you're getting at.
Dump it.
If we were going to make something really out there, and if I didn't know, if I was less than 50% sure if it's going to be good, I maybe would do it on my 5-gallon system first and actually put it on tap. Because I'm planning on moving my 5-gallon system to the brewery and having it actually used as a pilot system.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
So if I really wanted to, if it was going to be something super out there, like say we hadn't done the carrot coconut ginger yet, and I was like, I don't even know how carrots are going to interact. Like, let's see what this is. We would maybe do it on 5 gallons first, put it on tap, see how people like it, see how people react. But really, I mean, as long as everything during the brewing process is going good and there's no big red flags. Yeah, I definitely taste it at every step, so I know kind of what the wort should taste like. I know what it should taste like after it's completed its fermentation, but it hasn't really been finished yet with either hops or fruit, or it hasn't really clarified yet and been kegged and carbonated and gotten down to cold temperatures. It really is just if the process goes well. Like, if you're checking pH, if you're checking the last runnings of your sparge and you know that it came out before it's going to put a lot of tannins and stuff into the wort, like, you pretty much know as long as your process is going well that it should be a good beer.
The last few batches, I think I have a tannin problem because it comes out a lot. It comes out with a weird taste. It's not the same as it used to be.
Does it give you like a kind of like a harshness in the back of your throat a little bit? Because that would be kind of what the tannins are. It's almost like when you drink wine, that kind of like burn in the back of your throat.
I don't drink
That's what tannins are. So a tannin problem would be the reason you do last runnings on your sparge is you don't want to go too far to where you're getting below a certain pH or you're getting below a certain gravity to where that's when you're going to really start seeing those tannins come through. So you would stop it, and then you would actually be better off just adding cold or adding just filtered water to your boil kettle to get you up to the level that you were hoping to get in your boil kettle. You'd rather just use water than continue your sparge and go way past to where you're not even extracting fermentable sugar anymore. You're just extracting tannins now. So that's where that's probably where it is. That's where you take last runnings and you're like, oh shoot, it's getting close. But then if you do that a couple times, you start to understand, like, with my water chemistry in these batches, I'm good. So that's where it's like, once you kind of understand what your process is, you don't have to be too much of a Nazi on it. But when you're trying to figure out your process, then it's like, okay, if I'm having a hard time hitting the volume I need in the boil kettle, where I'm having to add a bunch of water to it, then you would want to look at maybe your sparge water chemistry and be like, okay, it's maybe too high on the pH scale. So that's where you can start kind of tinkering with things.
I am reading the wrong books. Son of a bitch.
Apparently we need to know the books he's read.
I know. I thought I did. I did. No, not even close.
All right. I'm assuming you have, but I'm going to ask the question. Have you ever had a bad batch?
Yes.
And what, in your experience, went wrong with that batch?
So it was very early in our all grain. One of the, I think it might have actually been like our second all grain brew. And I don't even really know what went wrong. But it tasted like Band-Aids.
That's what my mom
Band-Aids.
said.
Band-Aids. That's a new one.
That is a new one.
It tasted like Band-Aids. Oh. It tasted medicinal.
Okay.
And not in like a healthy sort of
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Not in, and it was just
not like it's making you healthier.
Right.
Yes. And it was just a basic.
Or a cream
No,
ale.
it was a cream ale. It was a basic cream ale. I wanted to test because
you put like a Belgian yeast though, I think, with the cream.
No, I'm pretty sure I just used Fermentis SO4, so it's like it's an English yeast.
Oh, that's what it was. I don't know.
But no, like, I love that yeast. I'll use that yeast in our kettle sours all the time. It's great yeast. But yeah, I don't know exactly what happened with that beer.
Just didn't taste.
But it tasted like Band-Aids.
Okay.
But what's interesting is I kept a bunch of those bottles.
Because we
And
didn't drink them.
we didn't drink because they tasted like Band-Aids.
Right.
We didn't drink them. We tried it like maybe 6 months later, and it was
Fine.
awesome.
Really?
That's fine.
So whatever the Band-Aid flavor was,
It kinda went away.
it aged out.
Okay. I don't think I've ever kept
And
a
it-
bottled beer that long.
And it was a great cream ale after that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
We were
Yeah.
like, wait, is this the
We were
bad
like, holy
beer?
shit,
Like,
this was the bad batch, right? Why does it taste great?
wow. I've had a bad batch, and 2 years later, it's still bad. I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a bottle of your homebrew in my
Dad, don't drink it.
my garage fridge.
Dump it. It's not good. Just
all right.
just dump it.
Okay.
So is that the? Would you say that is the only beer that you would say you? Well, I guess it actually turned out good. So,
A long time later.
but
well, then we also had.
Oh, we
sour.
also had, so one of our traditional sours we made, which I was making for our wedding. It was a strawberry coconut traditional sour. It was amazing. And then I actually bought a new keg to put this one in, and I don't know what the hell was happening. I didn't, because normally if I buy a new keg, I'll completely take it apart and like put it back together with brand new gaskets and everything. So I ran like a clean in place with it, but I didn't actually take this one apart and completely put brand new gaskets and stuff. And I just kind of thought my clean in place would have been good enough, and I filled this beer up and put it on tap. And then I actually had one of my good friends come visit, and I was like, oh man, you gotta try this beer. And I poured it, and as I'm pouring it, I'm like, oh, it looks a little different. And I went to smell it and try it, and it went rancid.
Oh no.
A really, really great finished product, just like it's all done, tastes great, put it in the keg.
Yeah. And it was at first, when I first put it in the keg and put it on tap, I was like, oh man, yeah, this is awesome. This is exactly what I want it to taste like. A week or two later, it tasted like vinegar. So it definitely got some sort of oxygen exposure as well. I don't know if it was from being in the barrel or not, but it definitely, it went bad, and it was not good. That was one of the only ones we completely dumped.
So, it sounds like you make really good beer, but just like in this case, the keg, you didn't replace the things so that made it go bad. With the other one, I guess you just
we'd have no idea,
and then it turned good.
Yeah.
But have you ever made one that was just so bad, and you knew it was so bad, and you knew it wasn't ever gonna get better? You just had one sip, and you're like, "Well, we gotta dump this shit out right now."
No, there was one that we made. I was getting really experimental, and I made a root beer ale. So I used so I went and found, I basically was just researching all sorts of original root beer recipes, like using burdock root and all sorts of crazy roots. And I went and sourced all these different roots, and I used them in the brewing process. And it was one that we actually maybe still even have like 1 or 2 bottles left.
I have one left because I used one yesterday.
And it's good, but it wasn't my favorite. But it definitely was not a throwaway. I didn't dump it by any means.
It's just kind of odd.
It was different. And it didn't turn out how I thought it would turn out, but it was root beer adjacent. So if you tasted it, you'd be like, okay, I get you were trying to get at root beer, like a root beer float with this. Because there was lactose in it. I steeped a ton of different roots that you would use in like a traditional root beer.
Like a sarsaparilla?
There was like sarsaparilla root and all sorts of things just to see if it would work. Because I really like root beer. So I was like, can I make a beer that like a real beer that actually tastes like root beer? Huh, didn't turn out how I thought it would, but it wasn't so bad that I had to dump it. But that was probably one of the only beers we made where it was like, this isn't my favorite. There's been so many where it's like, oh, I like this, let's make it better the next time. But no, we haven't really had too many like, oh, that's awful, let's dump it.
So on that root beer one, did you actually get to the root of the problem?
That's a terrible dad joke.
The dad joke was just, it was bubbling out of you.
He was holding that back so hard.
As soon as you kept talking about roots, I'm like, oh
God.
Here it is.
Yeah. Just stop talking.
All right. So Matt, what were you drinking before homebrews?
So I've been drinking craft beer for a while. Since probably like early in college. It started out as a lot of West Coast IPAs. I mean, that was what was big at the time in like 2012 and 2013. And then I would say around 2014, 2015 maybe, we both got into sours. And then that seemed like a whole brand new part of craft beer that we had never even known about. But I still occasionally, if the time is right, I will drink a Bud Light.
Oh, okay.
If the time
into my next
if the time is right,
wow.
If I'm in Winnemucca, Nevada, and I'm in the desert, and it's hot out,
all right, well.
and I'm sitting in a blow-up pool,
yes,
I will drink a Bud Light.
You will drink 14.
I will drink a lot of Bud Light.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
I literally bought him a Bud Light shirt. It's so funny how he's like, we're like craft beer people, but then you'll see Matt drinking a Bud Light.
Oh man.
Ouch.
Or what's that one you drink when you're fishing?
Oh,
Is that Busch Light? Or
no, it's not Busch Light. It's
what's the other one?
what's the one that's from Washington? Oh man,
Something
your dad loves it.
Hams.
Mount Rainier.
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 Oh, it's
Yeah,
Rainier.
It's
Drinks the
Rainier.
Yeah.
The fancy people call it Rainier.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just you got done fishing
You got
and
fish guts all over you.
you got fish guts
Yeah.
all over your beer.
Well, I won't ask the question. I was going to ask if you ever had Coors Light, but you already answered that kind of question, so...
No, not Coors
Not
Light.
Coors.
Yeah, the same stuff,
Of course not.
though.
Well, what about you, Courtney? Gal from Winnemucca.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have definitely had my share of light, skunky beers. And that's fine, you know. But I'm a little bit more high class than Matt.
Oh,
I will not go back. I don't remember the last time I had a Bud Light.
I don't know. I've tried to give them to you, but yeah, you
I'm
won't
just
take
like,
them.
oh, what do you think I am? I don't know. But if I'm not drinking craft beer, I would say, well, no, that's not true. Because Stella is an import. So I guess
true.
Stella's not really a not craft beer. Mm-mm. But if I'm going for not like an American craft beer, that's what I'll go for.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of German lagers.
Yeah. He's really into imports right now.
I really like German lagers. Last couple of years, I love German lagers.
And we love a Guinness in the winter.
I do love a Guinness too. I could drink a Guinness whenever. So yeah, I'll definitely drink, like, if you're talking like macro breweries, I'll drink a Guinness any day. And then I love the history of German beers and how they've been around. Like, those brewers have been around for so many years. It's crazy.
Very long.
And yeah, if I want to drink like a giant mug of beer, like, they nailed it. They nailed the
Yeah.
ability to drink a lot of beer.
Right.
Yeah, I lived in Germany for 5.5 years.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah, they nailed the to make a beer that you can drink a ton of and not
That
feel,
you want a stein of.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
you not feel sick and
That you can
bloated.
finish before it's like
Absolutely.
warm.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's where kind of my brewing style is a little Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I like tradition, and I like brewing things to tradition, but then I also like pushing the envelope a little bit and doing things a little crazier, like the carrot coconut
Yeah,
ginger.
that's
So-
great. Yeah.
We're going to hope that our recipe can showcase that and have some traditional beers for the people who really like an easy drinking beer brewed to traditional style and nail the tradition. And people are like, I want something way out there I've never tried.
That's what I like. I like the way out there. Never tried.
If it's good.
If it's good.
Yeah, right.
Yes, if it's balanced.
Right.
It has to be balanced. It has to be easy drinking and balanced, and it can't just be like, oh, whoa, here's 5 or 6 different flavors that we jammed in that just kind of meld together to almost taste like nothing.
Yeah, and sometimes you like that, but you're like, oh, I want like this much. I want like a shot glass worth of it. I don't want to
Exactly.
drink something that's...
That's kind of like lately, like the hops, like you read the descriptions of beers, it's like, oh, it's got 5 different flavors of fruits in it, like, but one usually is the more predominant flavor.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how you're expressing 5 different fruits.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
we've had some like that lately, where like the label is like runs through this whole list of things, and one thing kind of takes over.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like that's something you have to play with the recipe.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, that wraps up part 1. Tom and I had such a great time with Matt and Cortni. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2 of the Idawild episode.